Tony here. So today I'm going to go over all of the films that I watched during the month of May. I did watch quite a bit during the month. A lot of them were at the theater. I did have a Memorial Day war live stream on someone's channel, so there were a lot of war films that I was able to watch. But I am going to be using my Letterboxd account if you'd like to follow along with me. I have that link down below. That way you can kind of see what I thought about each of these films, because I probably won't remember very much about each of these. But I will give you my rating and if I liked it or not. So first up, I went to the theater and I saw Thunderbolts. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty interesting concept. It felt a little bit like what the Suicide Squad was for DC. But I did enjoy the story and the characters. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. But yeah, really enjoyed Thunderbolts. Then I watched The Surfer with Nicolas Cage. Didn't really care much for it at all. It felt kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of a weird concept, and I don't know, I just didn't care for it much at all. I gave it a half star. No heart. I didn't really care for it. Don't think I'll ever see it again. Next up, I watched The Accountant 2. I loved it. It's another great movie. I really enjoyed The Accountant, and I thought they did a great job with this story. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. I really like that this film had more of the dynamic between the brothers, and I really just enjoyed it. I found a lot of humor in this particular film. Next up, I watched Presumed Innocent with Harrison Ford. And then after that I watched Frantic with Harrison Ford. So I'll just talk about both of these at the same time. So Presumed Innocent, I gave 2.5 stars and a heart. I really enjoyed this one. I liked the thriller aspect of it, and I thought it was pretty good. As far as Frantic, so Presumed Innocent I gave 2.5 stars and a heart because I enjoyed it. But Frantic I gave 1.5 stars, no heart. I couldn't really get into Frantic. I just couldn't get into the story. I really didn't care much for the performances. Very forgettable film. So I would not recommend that. Next up, I watched One of Them Days. I thought this right here was a really fun comedy featuring these 2 characters. I gave this 2 stars and a heart, and it just kind of goes through a certain day with these 2 characters and all the things that happen with them trying to come up with the rent money, and I just thought it to be very humorous and I really enjoyed it. Next up, I watched Hard Eyes. I didn't get to see this one in the theater, but I did get to see it now, and I really am happy that I did. I thought it was a very good slasher film with a really good story, a really nice concept. I gave it 3 stars and a heart, and hopefully we'll get a better release. Next up, I watched Into the Deep, a shark movie, and I didn't care for it at all. I gave it 1/2 star, no heart. To be honest with you, as far as the shark was concerned, I don't remember seeing very much shark, and it just wasn't a good story. It's very forgettable, so I would not recommend that. Next up, I watched Last Breath. I gave this one 2.5 stars and a heart. Really good story based off of an actual event, and I thought the cast was really well. I thought the cast did a really well job, a really good job, and I really enjoyed the story. There was a part of the story that was a little bit long, but the ending made up for that, and I would recommend that everybody check that one out. Okay, next up, I watched Everybody Wants Some. Really enjoyed this one. This right here was a first time watch for me. It had been sitting in my watch pile for a while, so I thought I would check it out. Really enjoyable comedy story about this group of guys, and I guess they are on a ball team, and just everything that then kind of ensues, I think, within a weekend before the first day of school. So I really enjoyed that. And then after I watched that one, I thought I'd better go ahead check out Dazed and Confused. So I finally checked this one out. I actually liked Everybody Wants Some more than this one. This one, so everybody wants some, I gave 2 stars and a heart. This one, I gave 1 star, no heart. I really couldn't get into this film. This one is based off of the 70s. I thought I would connect more with it, but just didn't really care for it. And it could have just been the mood that I was in, but I didn't really like it. Okay, next up, I watched Hitman. I gave it 2 stars and a heart. And I enjoyed the cast. I thought it had a pretty good story. Nothing really special that stood out. But overall, I'm happy that I watched it. But it was a very forgettable movie. Next up, I watched Another Simple Favor. Did not live up to the first one. I really enjoyed the first one. This one, I gave 1 star, no heart. To me, it was just a big mess. It could have been a lot better. Very forgettable film, really unnecessary film, so I do not recommend it. Next up, I watched Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I gave this one 2 stars and a heart. It was a fun movie, but as far as these films are concerned, the first one was great, the second one was okay, this one was mediocre, so they just kind of keep going down. I really wish that they would quit making these. I don't think that they're necessary. Okay, next up, I watched Tangerine. This was a first time watch. I went into this one blindly, not knowing anything about it. It was an interesting story. I gave it 2 stars and a heart. I don't know that I'll be revisiting it, and I do not think I will be revisiting it anytime soon, but I did like what I saw as far as the story was concerned. It was different. It's a Sean Baker film, and it felt like a Sean Baker film. But yeah, so 2 stars and a heart. Okay, next up, I was getting ready to watch the Final Destination Bloodlines, and it had been years and years and years since I saw all of the other Final Destination films. So each day I watched a new one. So I watched all 4 of these Final Destination films. Really enjoyed them. For Final Destination, I gave it 2.5 stars and a heart. Final Destination 2 and 3 got 2.5 stars and a heart. And then the Final Destination got 1 star, no heart. So I enjoyed the first 3 films. I loved the way that they were connected. I loved the disaster, the kills that were happening in these. I enjoyed the story. Final Destination seemed very weird and out of place. But I am happy that I finally watched it. And then I watched Final Destination 5. Really enjoyed this one. I gave this one 2 stars and a heart. I thought they got back to the same formula that I think everybody was enjoying. And so happy I saw that one. And then I went to the theater and saw Final Destination Bloodlines. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. It was probably my favorite out of all the ones I had seen previously, other than the original is always nostalgic. But I love what they did with Final Destination Bloodlines. I thought it was a really good, unique story. And the way that they intertwined the films together was great. So very happy that I was able to see all of the Final Destination films all consecutively. And I think it really helped me enjoy the recent one more. Okay, next up at the theater, I went and saw Hurry Up Tomorrow. It got 1.5 star, no heart. Did not care for it whatsoever. I was really hoping that it would get better. It never did. There were some parts of it that were okay. But overall, I think it was a very bland story. Okay, next up, I watched The Wolf Pack. I gave this 1.5 stars and a heart. This right here is about a group of young men who are living in an apartment in New York City with their mom and dad and their siblings, and how they pretty much never leave the apartment up until a certain point. It's a documentary type film. I thought it was a pretty interesting story, but what I liked about it was the fact that they like to watch movies and to reenact them, and that was the enjoyable part about it. So if you are able to see The Wolf Pack, definitely check that one out. Okay, next up I watched Wanted. This one I gave 2 stars and a heart. It was a pretty good action adventure type. I don't know exactly how to explain this. It's It's more of a thriller action type film with a mystery, and I didn't care much for it. I gave it 2 stars and a heart. It had some good parts to it, but couldn't really connect to it. And it kind of, I liked some of the aspects of it, but it just wasn't great. Next up is when I started watching the war films. So we suggested 5 films, and then we were given the films that everybody else suggested. And so there were a lot of war films that I had never seen before that I wanted to check out before the live stream. So the first one was Grave of the Fireflies. I thought it was a really good animation film, a very sad story, but I really liked what they did with it. I gave it 3.5 stars and a heart. I thought it was a very good story. Next up, I watched Starship Troopers. I gave this one 3 stars and a heart. I had never seen this one before. I thought it was a really fun science fiction war film. I loved the fact that they were fighting against bugs, and I thought it had a really good concept, and I really enjoyed it. Next up, I went to the theater and saw The Wiz on the big screen. I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. I do have this one in the collection that I never opened. I just never went and revisited it. So I thought that was a good opportunity for me to go to the theater and see it. And I did not like it as much as I remembered liking it as a kid. It was really long, a lot more singing than I had remembered as a kid. Probably as a kid I was probably up and down, not really focused on the movie. But this time I was in the theater watching it and I couldn't get up or down. I guess I could if I wanted to, but I didn't, and it was just very boring. I gave it 1.5 stars and a heart, and I liked it for the nostalgia reason, but it wasn't a great film for me. Okay, next up was a first time watch. I watched Tropic Thunder. Gave this one 2.5 stars and a heart. I thought this was a really fun movie. I enjoyed what they were doing. I enjoyed the fact that they were actors trying to make a movie, and the way that it all played out was just wonderful. I really enjoyed it. Next up was a first time watch for The Last of the Mohicans. 3.5 stars and a heart. I really enjoyed this story. I enjoyed the cast, the characters, and really enjoyed the way that it ended. Highly recommend you check this one out. It is a long one. There are some slow parts to it, but definitely worth a watch. Next up was another first time watch, and that was for Schindler's List. I had never watched this film before. I've had it for years and years and years in the collection, different formats. I gave this one 4 stars and a heart, but I am happy that I finally watched it. I thought it was a really great story, very great performances, cinematography, the score, everything about it was just wonderful. A very sad story, but one that was done so well. I think everybody should check that one out. Okay, next up I watched Wind Talkers. This right here was a first time watch. I really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed the cast. I enjoyed the story about the code that they used throughout this war, and just the whole story overall I thought was really good. It may not have had some of the best acting, but it was a really good story. I gave it 3 stars and a heart, and I would recommend you check it out. Next up, I watched Casualties of War, which was a first time watch for me. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. This one was another interesting story about, this has Sean Penn and Michael J. Fox in it, and it is about these young men and what they've done. I don't want to tell too much of it, but what they do is they kidnap or hold for hostage a young lady from the camp to do things with, and it was a really disturbing type situation. And then Michael J. Fox's character trying to fight against it. I thought it was a really good, interesting story. Definitely one that you should check out. And then I went to the theater and saw Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars and a heart. Very good finale for this franchise. I'm really hoping that they don't do any others. To me, this right here kind of rounded out the whole series, and I just really enjoyed everything about it. This is definitely one that you'd want to see on the big screen, and I saw it in IMAX and just really enjoyed it. Okay, next up I watched Defiance, another war film. This right here has Daniel Craig in it. This one is another one about the Holocaust and about a group of people. I think this is all based off of true events. About a group of people, I want to say Polish Jews, that lived in the forest and had their lives in the forest, and while still fighting against what was happening. Thought it was a really good, interesting story. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. One that you definitely should check out. The next one I watched was Pearl Harbor. I hadn't seen this one in years, probably since the early 2000s. So it was a first time watch in a long time. Really enjoyed it. I forgot how much of a love story that it is in conjunction with it being a war story. Most of the film focuses on that love story up until Pearl Harbor, and then it just really gets action-packed with all of the fighting. And I gave that one 3.5 stars and a heart. 100% recommend checking that one out. Okay, next up I watched, next up was back to my regular films. I was done with the war films, so I watched Donnybrook. This right here had been sitting in my watch pile, and this right here is a very interesting story. This one I gave 2 stars and a heart. I enjoyed what they did. It's a really dark tale about a father, his son, and his wife and daughter. There's so many things that was happening with this family. They were living in such a poor situation. There was drug addiction, all kinds of things going on, and he was trying to have this fight to where he could win some money. Just a very brutal story. Definitely check it out if you have the opportunity to. Next up I went to the theater and saw Friendship. I thought it was a pretty funny comedy. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the cast. I gave it 2.5 stars and a heart. It's one that I think I will look forward to checking out again on physical media. Then I went to the theater and saw Bring Her Back. I loved it. Bring Her Back was a really interesting story. It is a horror. It's a type of a horror film, but not really a monster or anything. It's more of a possession type film, but I gave it 4 stars and a heart. Don't really want to say much more about it other than the thing that it was really well acted. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the story. The visuals were excellent. So if you have a chance to see Bring Her Back, definitely check it out in the theater. Okay, then next up, I watched Lilo and Stitch. I had never seen this film before, which is surprising because I pretty much watch all of the Disney animated films. But I never saw Lilo and Stitch for whatever reason. I think it's because my sons never really cared for it. And so I finally watched it so I could go watch the live action version, because I do like to check those out. The animated version was fun. It was 2.5 stars and a heart. But I didn't really have that connection with it. So it wasn't my favorite Disney animated film. But I did go see Lilo and Stitch, the live action version, and really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it a lot based off of the fact that I was trying to compare it to the animated film. I thought they did a really good story conveying the original animated film, but adding a little bit more to it. I thought it had a lot of heart and a lot of laughs. I really enjoyed it, and I also gave it 2.5 stars and a heart. So I'm really looking forward to adding the live action Lilo and Stitch to the collection. So anyway, that's all the films that I watched during the month of May. It was a busy month. Did a lot of watching, a lot of forgetting some of these films. But very happy that I had the opportunity to watch a film every single day. But please leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about the films that I watched, and also let me know some of the titles that you watched and some recommendations of titles that you think I should check out during the month of June or July, because I really do appreciate your recommendations. But thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and we will see you next time.